my number one priority.
Tonight, in an exclusive interview, President-elect Obama takes on America's most wanted fugitive, Osama bin Laden.
My preference, obviously, would be to capture or kill him.
I'm Katie Couric in Washington. Also tonight, bin Laden's new threat. The terrorist leader vows to open new fronts in the war against the U.S. A fast-moving assault of snow and bitter cold blasts across the Midwest and into the Northeast. And band of drummers. Steve Hartman with perhaps the most unlikely contingent in the inaugural parade.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric reporting tonight from Washington.
And good evening, everyone. In just 6 days behind me at the U.S. Capitol, Barack Obama will be sworn in as the 44th President of the United States. Today, Osama bin Laden marked the occasion with a new threat. But in an exclusive interview, the president-elect sent a message of his own for bin Laden and his terror network. They'll be in his crosshairs as his administration shifts the focus back to Afghanistan.
We took our eye off the ball when we invaded Iraq. Now, it's done. My job is to withdraw in a responsible way from Iraq and stabilize the situation there. But our real focus has to be on Afghanistan, the border regions between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And we have to put as much pressure on them as possible. I've already spoken to my national security team about how we're going to do that. And I'm confident that we can keep them on the run and ensure that they cannot train terrorists to attack our homeland. That's my number one priority as President of the United States.
How important do you think it is, Mr. President-elect, to apprehend Osama bin Laden?
I think that we have to so weaken his infrastructure that whether he is technically alive or not, he is so pinned down that he cannot function. My preference, obviously, would be to capture or kill him. But if we have so tightened the noose that he's in a cave somewhere and can't even communicate with his operatives, then we will meet our goal of protecting America.
Protecting America from threats like the one bin Laden makes in an audio tape released today. He vows to open what he calls new fronts against the United States and its allies beyond Iraq and Afghanistan. And he calls on Muslims to launch a jihad against Israel. Our national security correspondent David Martin has more.
The man whose name will be forever linked with that of George Bush took his parting shot, not with a terrorist attack, but an audio tape. 75% of the American people are pleased to see the back of the president who dragged them into wars they could not cope with and plunged them up to their ears in economic whirlpools. Breaking an 8-month silence, Osama bin Laden also warned the incoming president he has inherited a war he cannot win without making the economic crisis worse.
He's trying to take a victory lap here.
Does he deserve to take a victory lap?
Yes and no. In some ways, his organization has taken some serious hits. But at the same time, it's survived in the face of a massive U.S. onslaught. And in some parts of the world, especially Pakistan, it's grown stronger.
In the last 6 months, CIA missile strikes have killed 8 senior al-Qaeda operatives, including the mastermind of an unsuccessful plot to blow up airliners over the Atlantic and the planner of the bombing at the Marriott Hotel in Pakistan. The Pentagon keeps commandos on constant alert in Afghanistan, waiting for a tip on bin Laden's whereabouts, but has not had a good shot at him since he was cornered in the Tora Bora Mountains in December of 2001. Daniel Byman of Georgetown University says bin Laden himself seems surprised to be alive.
From his point of view, there's an expectation of martyrdom that could come any day now, and he must see his survival as a sign of divine favor.
And he remains in everybody's eyes the #1 threat to the United States. Katie?
David Martin at the Pentagon tonight. David, thank you. Mohammed al-Ghorani was also considered a threat to the United States. He was 14 when he was captured in Pakistan and is one of more than 200 terrorist suspects held at Guantanamo Bay. Today, a federal judge ordered him released. The U.S. military said he was with al-Qaeda when he was arrested, but the judge said the evidence didn't back that up. Meanwhile, as we've reported, Barack Obama plans to order the prison camp closed when he takes office. Two more of the president-elect's nominees appeared before Senate confirmation hearings today. Tom Vilsack, the former governor of Iowa, is up for Secretary of Agriculture, and retired General Eric Shinseki for Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Meanwhile, the hearing for Treasury Secretary designate Tim Geithner was put off until the day after the inauguration. Questions have been raised about his failure to pay $34,000 in taxes. In our interview today, I talked with President-elect Obama about the war in Gaza. In 19 days of fighting, the Palestinian death toll has passed 1,000, many of them civilians. Today, Israel kept up its air assault, striking dozens of targets. International peace efforts continue, but neither Israel nor Hamas has agreed on a truce. It's clear that this war will be the Obama administration's first foreign policy challenge. A renewed ceasefire seems pretty elusive at this juncture between Hamas and Israel. What would you say to leaders on both sides to break through this stalemate?
Well, I've been very clear on this, Katie, that until January 20th, we have one president at a time, and that's George Bush. But we are going to start on day one. Hillary Clinton, in her testimony during her confirmation hearing, expressed my views and the views of the administration that we can't delay, we can't kick the can down the road. We're going to have to take a regional approach. We're going to have to involve Syria in discussions. We're going to have to engage Iran in ways that we have not before. We've got to have a clear bottom line that Israel's security is paramount, but that also we have to create a two-state solution where people can live side by side in peace.
It was revealed yesterday that your nominee for Treasury Secretary, Timothy Geithner, failed to pay some taxes and did so only after he learned that he would be tapped as Treasury Secretary. How embarrassing do you think this is for a future Treasury Secretary who will be overseeing the IRS?
Well, I think he's embarrassed about it. But we knew about this before we nominated him. It was an innocent mistake, a common mistake that's made. But here's the bottom line. Nobody denies that he is uniquely qualified for this job, that he has more experience in dealing with international crises. He's been uniformly praised by Republicans and Democrats and by the marketplace. And so I'm confident he will be confirmed, and I'm confident he will do an outstanding job.
And let me just end by asking you about the stimulus package. 40% of your stimulus package relies on tax cuts with the hopes that people will invest that money or put it back into the economy.
Right.
But some critics have said, hey, that didn't really happen the last time. Why will it this time?
Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, I think it's important to understand that the majority of our spending is direct government spending on critical infrastructure that will set the table for long-term economic growth. We're going to double alternative energy. We're going to rebuild our schools and community colleges and public universities. We're going to invest billions of dollars in health information technology so that we can drive down costs for average families. So that's where the majority of the money is going. Now, are some people going to just pay down their credit cards or save some of that money? Absolutely. And if Congress has better suggestions where they can show me that one approach is going to be better than another approach, I'm happy to take it. I don't have pride of authorship here. But the general framework, the general outlines of the plan are ones that we have run by economists from the left and the right, conservative, liberal. This is a package that I think is going to make sense. I have every confidence that it's going to work, but it's going to take some time, and we've got to do it with some speed. So my main message to Congress right now is get it done.
And if it doesn't work?
Failure is never an option, not in America.
And you can see much more of my interview on a CBS News special, Change and Challenge, the inauguration of Barack Obama next Tuesday at 9 p.m. 8 Central. Now turning to some brutal weather as an Arctic freeze covers a big portion of the country. Northern states from the western mountains to New England are shivering, and an even colder air mass is moving in. Over the next 24 hours, places like Des Moines, Iowa, Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Burlington, Vermont can expect sub-zero temperatures. Our early show weather anchor Dave Price is in the chill of the night.
January is supposed to be cold, but this cold? Bone-chilling, record-breaking cold. 22 below on the thermometer in Minot, North Dakota. 48 below when you factor in the wind chill. Pretty to look at, not easy to live in. In Columbus, Ohio, with temperatures at around 9 degrees this morning, it wasn't just the food that was frozen, it was the delivery man as well.
It gets aggravating sometimes. It's most definitely cold.
With temperatures hovering near zero in Saginaw, Michigan, this student might take a lesson in dressing from the kids in Fargo. Negative 21 degrees there. The plows were out early in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, trying to stay ahead of 7 inches of new snow. A fresh blanket of snow fell on Chicago as well this morning, making for hazardous road conditions.
It's terrible, slippery, stop-and-go traffic.
Just really messy, fishtailing a lot, cars sliding all over the place.
Wisconsin's welcome was covered in snow, just like the interstate.
Freeway's just a mess. People are not slowing down. We're just picking them up one after another.
In Milwaukee, trying to make the road safe for other drivers proved dangerous for a sand truck. It was the coldest January 14th ever in Flint, Michigan and International Falls, Minnesota. But it wasn't just the Midwest. It seemed like the whole country was cold. Even parts of Texas were below freezing. It's an Arctic blast blanketing much of the country. The National Weather Service says it should be warming up in the next few days from west to east. Now, Lambeau Field behind me is often called the frozen tundra because of the harsh playing conditions here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it's going to certainly live up to that reputation tonight when wind chills are expected to plummet to 40 degrees below zero, and this same air mass continues to work its way eastward. By Friday, even New York City will feel like it's 10 degrees below zero before temperatures finally begin to moderate. Katie?
Burr. All right. Dave Price. Dave, thank you. Bad weather is never good for retailers, and they're already coming off a very bad year. The government reported today that retail sales fell last month more than twice as much as Wall Street was expecting. That brings the string of sales declines to a record 6 months. For all of 2008, retail sales posted their first annual decline in at least 16 years. Coming up next, right here on the CBS Evening News, a pilot who faked his own death lands in police custody. The curious case of a high-flying financier. It is a very strange case. Financier Marcus Schrenker is under arrest tonight, charged with faking a distress call and wrecking his plane on purpose as his life was spinning out of control. More now from our chief investigative correspondent, Armin Katayan.
We should go ahead and buy everything.
U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement found the 38-year-old Schrenker huddled inside a tent at a North Florida campground. They caught him, CBS News learned, after tracing this email he sent to a friend. Schrenker was bleeding from his wrist after a supposed suicide attempt. This, the latest twist in a story of a man who faked his own death in a stunt straight out of a bad movie.
There was a lot of blood. It was apparent that Mr. Schrenkner had been bleeding for some time there in his tent before law enforcement arrived.
On Sunday, Schrenker, a daredevil pilot whose exploits are chronicled on YouTube, flew in a private plane from Indiana to Florida. Over Alabama, he radioed a phony distress call before parachuting from this plane that would soon crash in a North Florida swamp. Schrenker later emerged from the woods 200 miles away, soaking wet, telling local police he'd been in a canoeing accident. After checking into this Florida hotel, Schrenker slipped away, reappearing at this storage shed before roaring off in a motorcycle he'd stashed days before as part of his great escape.
Best way to describe it, right now, he's our own little Bernie Madoff.
Schrenker had plenty of reasons to run. He's currently under investigation in Indiana for insurance fraud, accused of excessively trading clients' investments in order to fatten his fees by hundreds of thousands of dollars. By the time authorities arrived at Schrenker's $4 million home, he'd long since disappeared, leaving behind a trail of broken trust and distraught clients.
You haven't been built to tell you were built by Marcus Schrenker.
Schrenker is now under arrest in a Florida hospital where he is recovering from self-inflicted wounds. The real pain felt by those who trusted their money with what one former client called a pathological liar. So in the world of Bernie Madoff, we can now add the name Marcus Schrenker at a time when it seems financial fraudsters are literally falling from the sky. Armin Katayan, CBS News, New York.
From disgraced businessman to a disgraced politician in a ceremony that was awkward, to say the least, Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich presided over the swearing-in of the newly elected state Senate, a Senate expected to kick him out of office after an impeachment trial later this month. When we come back, a week after trying to reassure the public and his company about his health, Apple founder Steve Jobs takes a medical leave of absence. He may be the face of Apple, but Apple will be without Steve Jobs at least through June. Our business correspondent Anthony Mason reports the company co-founder announced today he's taking medical leave of absence.
I just wanted to mention this.
September, Steve Jobs made light of the rumors about his health, but they continued to swirl. The 53-year-old CEO of Apple, who underwent surgery for pancreatic cancer 4 years ago, had appeared strikingly gaunt recently. Just last week, Jobs released a statement blaming a hormone problem for his weight loss. But today, in an email to Apple employees announcing his 6-month leave of absence, Jobs wrote, "During the past week, I have learned that my health-related issues are more complex than I originally thought." Jobs has run Apple for more than a decade, and no CEO is considered more critical to the identity of his company. To investors, Steve Jobs is Apple, the wizard behind the stunning success of the iMac, the iPod, and the iPhone.
Envisioning Apple without Jobs is something that's going to be difficult to do, but I think it's also important to emphasize that there are over 32,000 people who work for Apple now. This is not a small company like it was when he took over in 1997.
Jobs says he'll remain involved in major strategic decisions while Chief Operating Officer Tim Cook takes over. But the news shook investors. Apple stock tumbled 10%. Katie?
Anthony Mason, thanks very much. Meanwhile, actor Ricardo Montalban died today in Los Angeles. He had a long career in film and television, but he'll always be known for this.
Welcome to Fantasy Island.
With his sidekick tattoo, Montalban played Mr. Rourke, the debonair proprietor of Fantasy Island from 1978 to 84. TV fans will also remember his Chrysler commercials in which he extolled the virtues of soft Corinthian leather. Ricardo Montalban was 88 years old. And finally tonight, organizers of the inaugural parade here in Washington received nearly 1,400 applications from bands and other groups that wanted in. But in the end, only about 90 got a thumbs up. Steve Hartman has the story of one small band that made the cut, beating the odds and the drums on the road to the inauguration.
There are some very elite drum lines in America, and the Bonnie Bray Knights from Liberty Corner, New Jersey are definitely not one of them.
What was your drumming experience before you joined?
Zero.
Zero?
Nope, never touched a drum before.
What do you know about drumming?
It's a verb.
They'll take anyone, for any reason.
I thought it was a good chance to hit something.
Just a ragtag group of bad news snares. But the Knights do have one huge fan. His name is Bill Powers. He's the school director, and he believes in these kids so much. Not long ago, he tried to get them a spot in the inaugural parade.
The reason I applied, and I thought they might have a chance, is Obama's campaign themes of hope and change. And that's really what we're all about here.
Bonnie Bray isn't a regular school. It's a residential treatment center for boys who've been abandoned or abused. Angry kids who have usually been kicked out of multiple foster homes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is like a home of last resort.
It really is. For some kids, it really is their kind of last chance to really make something of themselves.
Which is why Bill so wanted to get his kids in the inaugural parade. In fact, he wanted it so badly, he even lied on the application. 3 times in the first paragraph. Bill wrote, "The Knights are a marching drum line." They never march. Composed of 12 drummers. They had 6 at the time. They wear colorful blue and yellow uniforms. T-shirts, actually.
In all honesty, this drum line didn't even have decent drums, or even enough sticks to go around. All minor details Bill figured he would fix if by some miracle the group ever got accepted.
Is that amazing or what?
Which it did.
Oh, now we have to produce, you know?
The drum line, now with 8 new recruits, has been practicing every day, often twice a day. They've made tremendous strides in their drumming and are now working on their strides, marching back and forth across the gym. People have donated drums and sticks. Real uniforms are on the way, and new attitudes are all around.
They're feeling so much better about themselves because of this.
I have to work hard. I can't mess up no more.
I'm really sticking with this one because I really want to do it.
Change. It may be coming to Washington next week, but obviously, it's in New Jersey already. Steve Hartman, CBS News, Liberty Corner, New Jersey.
I can't wait to see them. And that is the CBS Evening News, with thanks to the Jones Day Law Firm for this window on the Capitol. I'm Katie Couric in Washington. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.